Okay, we will call the meeting to order. We have a public hearing on the instructional time model, and I believe Ms. Davis is going to present.
Thank you. Good evening, President Berrigan, board members, Dr. Sprout, and guests. This is our public hearing number 2 on the instructional time model. Just a reminder, we did have our first public hearing on September 7th, so this would be our second public hearing on this topic. And following 2 public hearings, the board may choose to vote to adopt an instructional time model. So just a reminder, our safe return to instruction plan is in place. The majority, over 7,000 of our kids are back to school in person. There is a small number still choosing to do online at our Living Online Academy. We do have a lot of mitigation strategies in place to ensure that safe return to school. All of these things are still in place. But a new one that's been added just recently is the Binax Now testing. So in addition to face masks was probably the biggest one that has reduced the number of kids needing to be quarantined, because if they're a close contact but they're all wearing face masks, we don't have to quarantine them all. So that's been helpful in reducing our numbers. But now we have the ability to also give tests, rapid tests that get results in 15 minutes. So when a student has symptoms, we can offer that. So that is going to be quite helpful as well. This is a chart I shared last time on September 7th with our attendance, and you see that we had a pretty high peak there with 1,456 kids absent on one day. That has continued to go down and settle a bit. This last, I looked for the last couple weeks, and our average now is about 700 kids a day. So as opposed to that 1,400 peak. So it's still higher than normal. It's higher than it was 2 years ago at this time, but better than it was a month ago at this time. So as of today, in all those absences, there are 937 students who do have one or more of their absences are coded to a COVID-19. It doesn't mean we have 900 kids with COVID. Most of them were close contacts or had to be quarantined. So 937 students, though, do have what's called a C19 code for one or more of their absences, which really has resulted in 5,752 days of absence. So this is the part that our ITM, our proposed ITM would address. So as I shared before, we do have support for our students when they are quarantined. So when we do have to send a student home for quarantine or they have COVID, we do continue to offer support to them. The teachers are checking in with them. There's work provided through Google Classroom. If there was a whole class quarantine, which really we haven't had to do now, and I don't anticipate it, although never say never with this virus. But if we did, we would do a live Google Meet for the whole class. The challenge in all this, though, is that even when the students participate and do their work, we still have to mark them absent. So House Bill 2862 does allow a school district to adopt an instructional time model that gives us flexibility in how we count the required instructional hours, including an option for distance learning or independent study, remote learning. So the requirements for that, as I already mentioned tonight, is that we must hold at least 2 public hearings. We have to share information, elicit feedback, and then the governing board could approve after the second public hearing. And then pending board approval, it can be implemented the very next day. With an approved instructional time model, students who are required to miss school due to a COVID-related absence could be given the opportunity to participate in that distance learning and then receive credit for attendance. So the state has created an attendance code for that. It's DL, a DL attendance code. And so we would be able to give some students credit for attending school, even though they're temporarily in distance learning. So our proposed model that's really what we're just proposing. We're not looking for a hybrid model where we do some kids online and some in person. We really believe in-person instruction is the most effective way to teach our children, and most of our families are back in person. But when there is a COVID-related absence, it would be an option for us to give that distance learning. If the quarantined student completed their work and or demonstrated mastery of the academic content, they could be marked present for those days. So obviously we would have to have a system for teachers to go back and look at that to change those. And there may be some cases where we don't choose to change it, the student didn't participate. But one of the options with the ITM is to make it retroactive. So that is in our proposal, is that we do make it retroactive from the first day of school. So we would go back to the first day of school through the entire 21-22 school year for this model. So really that's about it. If you have any questions, or if anyone from the public has any questions or comments, we could take those now.
Any questions, friends? Anything from the public? Can you remind me the BINEX, is that what they're called?
Yes.
Tests, where do we get those from, or who? Is that from the county?
Yeah,
Do you
they
recall?
were given to us, Mr. Thomas.
I thought so. Free of charge, right? Okay, cool. Very good. We appreciate that.
We receive a weekly, is it still weekly, Tim? Allotments
Oh, okay.
that we then distribute to the schools.
Okay. And have we had to use them all?
No, we are using them, but
Okay.
they think they can keep up with the fire.
Oh, good.
It's taken us a while to stockpile that, because all
Yeah.
the schools in the state want their fair share.
Right.
We're lucky enough to have an ongoing weekly order of 24 per campus. We may use them all in one day, or we may be able to stockpile, only use 12 this week, and stockpile the next 24 for staff and students.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time on this little piece of bureaucracy that we had to do that should have just been automatic, but
Thank you.
we'll follow their rules, right? Thank you. Okay. I think we need to do roll call, please.
Mrs. Berrigan,
Here?
Ms. Ward,
Here.
Dr. Torres Watkins.
And we need to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. And we now have the instructional time model to adopt. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Been motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And our next board meeting is on October 14th at 5:30. Is it next week? No, 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
Nobody will be here next week.
Nobody will be here next week. Please don't come next week. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye, guys. Have a nice night.